Hey everybody, Chris here from It's Mead Made, and I am going to be finishing the painting series with finishing the base for my Hulk bust. So I have gone through all of the techniques that I use, and I figured I might as well show you some of the few little tips and tricks along the way when it comes to different things with printing and painting busts and any kind of other model. So this is the bust, and you kind of see already that I have masked off a bunch of areas where there's like some, iron like brackets and things like that sticking out, and I just didn't want what I'm about to do to be exposed. So I just roughly masked it off, and also the base, because I want to keep that smooth. So what I'm going to be using, I'm going to coat the entire thing in this. It's Rust-Oleum multicolor textured. So you can kind of see the top of this. It's got a grit to it, if you feel that. If you hear that. It actually has like a bumpy texture. And what I like to do is I use this a lot when I'm doing something that is going to be like concrete. So this is going to be like a concrete pillar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it with this, but the key here is this is almost kind of like my base coat, and I am not going to entirely leave it this color. I just really want that texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit this really quickly and with a coat of it to get that texture, let it dry, and then I'm going to take it back inside and start really painting it and doing the things I want to do to it. So now that I have this primed with this textured spray paint, if I get in close, you can see how there is a bunch of grit on here. And it really gives a lot of cool detail and just texture to this. So I've got some darker areas here that I'm going to be painting in. And then the one different thing I'm going to be using and introducing for this one is a Spouncer. If you're not familiar with what this is, it's essentially a round sponge on a stick. And what you do is you can dab on this to be able to get different textures and different looks. So the two main colors I'm going to be using for this is medium gray and dove gray. I want to use both of them here, and I'm going to just kind of be random all throughout because this is going to look like concrete when I'm done with it, hopefully. The one thing I'm going to also be using is my ink wash, and I might do a tiny bit of dry brush in the end, but we will see what it looks like. For the rebar, I don't know what kind of color I want to use yet. I might use a metallic. I was thinking maybe a metallic gold. I actually have a bronze as well, and I might look for that. But other than that, we're just going to get started. So first thing is I'm actually going to brush the inside here with a little bit of a darker paint on these edges. So I'm going to do a little bit of dry brush for this. That way I can kind of fade it out, but I'm not going to be using a makeup brush. I'm going to be using a harder bristle brush, just so I can get a little bit more feathered out. Okay, and I'm also going to do it right here a little bit. Okay, so I've kind of got those holes a little darker, and now I am going to clean my brush out. And I'm going to start with my medium gray. So with this, I'm not going to water down my paints. I'm actually just going to squirt a little bit on this, like that. And just like dry brush, I am going to do this on a paper towel, and I'm basically really wanting to just get a good even amount all over. So I'm kind of swirling it around and making sure I get enough paint on there. So now all I've got to do is I'm going to dab this lightly. So the thing is you just kind of do random dabs everywhere. It looks like I need some more, so I'm actually just going to put some on this paper towel. Dab it a little. And just kind of give different pressure on it. And just keep hitting it in random spots. So sometimes I might hit harder than other times, and maybe I'll focus in one area a little harder. So maybe around here. And just keep going at it, essentially, until I've got enough randomness in here to where it is where I want it. So I think I want some lighter gray here. So now it's starting to change and take shape a little bit. And the key is I'm not stroking this, I'm actually dabbing it. So now that I've got that, I'm not even worried about cleaning this because it's another color. So I'm just going to squirt some more on here. And just get some of the paint off of it. And now just kind of go through it here. Now this one I'm going to be a lot lighter with it. And just tapping it in random places. You can see how doing some of this technique, some of the dark cracks and things start to really pop out. And there we go. So now the main thing is you don't want to be afraid of too much, because you can always overlay it with another darker color. So like you can mix your colors. And just see how that goes. So if I want a little bit darker, I can do that. So you see, darker over the lighter. And there we go. Okay, sponge is clean. So, I'm gonna go ahead and use my makeup brush for this, like I did in the dry brushing. I'm just swirling around, get some paint on. Okay, so for this, I'm probably gonna do some brushed bronze for this rebar. And with metallic paints, I typically don't water them down. I'll just squirt some in the little tray here, and I'm gonna go ahead and paint these specific go ahead and paint all of these little rebar. Okay, so I have everything done with the busts now. And also the base. So I've got the base exactly how I want it. And all I've got to do now is flop this guy over and apply this. So I just use Gorilla Glue Super Glue. I really like this kind because it has the nozzle and it also has a brush, which that is what I'm going to be using right now. So I have everything done with the bust. So I'm just going to apply this on here. And also the base. So I've got the base exactly how I want it. And all I've got to do now is flop it all over, but I'm not getting too close to the edges and apply because this. So I just use Gorilla Glue Super Glue. I really like this kind because now it has the nozzle and it also has a brush. How it's going to sit. That is what I'm going to be using right now. And then hold some pressure on this for 30 seconds. So I'm just going to apply this on here. Okay, so that's the time, and there's the model. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some nicer pictures and some detailed close-ups of this. And this is the final model with the base glued onto it. I think it turned out really well. I really hope you've enjoyed this 5-part series on all of the basics of painting a 3D printed model. My main goal of this series was to show you how every little principle can build upon itself. If you know proper priming, then you can start to block your colors properly. If you're thinning your paints good, you're going to have good coverage and less brush strokes. Then if you have that, you can do an ink wash and get all of those nooks and crannies and a lot of good shading and gradation. Then finally, with a good dry brush, you're going to be able to really get all of those top areas and all of those nice highlights. So all of these things put together is what creates a really nice model. So I hope you start using these and stacking these techniques on top of each other to get really good results. If you missed any of the videos in this series, please feel free to go back to my channel under playlists. You can see them there under the painting tutorials. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe so you can see all of the newest videos I put out on 3D printing and painting. But overall, I really just hope that this helped you understand the basic fundamentals of painting a 3D printed model. As you can see here, this turned out really good, even though I was afraid of the face because of all the lines in the very beginning. But you can see with all of the techniques that we've used, those lines start to disappear after a while. You still can see them when you're really close, but they start to disappear because of all the coloring and all of the gradations that we were using. If you have any questions whatsoever about things in this series, please feel free to leave a comment, or you can jump over to Instagram and follow me there and send me a message. I'm very active on Instagram and I talk to a lot of people from YouTube. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video and I wish you a great day. Bye.